Welcome back to the videos. I chose to be in my library today because we're talking about S, the success attitudes. My name is David Hopper. This is part of a series about launching new ministries, new campuses, and new churches. And we're using the alphabet from A to Z to discuss the subjects that will help you launch in the best possible way. So, as you can see from the environment, we're talking about success today, how to be the best you. So I love driven people. You can be running in the complete wrong direction and you need like correction often. But if I don't have to get you motivated to run, like push you forward, I love it. I love it. I'd rather just try and guide you as you are running at full speed than motivate you to get started. George Washington Carver once said, 99% of all failures come from people who have a habit of making excuses. There will always be excuses of why something can't be done, why now is not the best time, why you won't be successful. But what if we stopped making excuses? This will be possible if you have drive. You will have to stop making excuses, worrying about failure. There's lots of people like that. Be that 1% that has the drive to be successful. I heard a pastor talk about how he would stand at the door after every service and greet people as they were leaving the church. Every week, someone would come by and they would have this scowl on their face that something rubbed them the wrong way in the sermon or the service or the building. They said they're not coming back to the church. They were angry. And then they would leave. And then a couple people later, those of you that are pastors know what I'm talking about, someone would come up and be like, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. It helped my relationship with Christ. This place is awesome. That's awesome. And that's awesome. And they're like, they're at Disneyland as far as you're concerned. What's the difference between those two people? Because they sat in the same service, they came to the same church, none of the information or experience was different. The only difference was them. It really stuck with me. I realized that life is what we make of it. In every situation, the only difference between me and everyone else is how I choose to experience the moment. I have this drive to make every moment count. When I'm stuck somewhere, like I can't get out of there, think DMV, I can choose to scowl and be angry at the time I'm wasting, or I can open up my iPad, which I never leave without now, and use that time to do some kind of personal gain. Do you have the drive to be successful in this life? Do you have the drive to accomplish whatever you're trying to launch? There will be lots of naysayers, as they like to call themselves in the Christian world, devil's advocates. I love how negative people always think they're the only ones to bring this new perspective of what could go wrong. I've always been so fascinated by that. Those are a dime a dozen. It is the encourager, the motivator that's hard to find in this world. So let's be that person. Have the drive to be the encourager, even if it has to be for yourself to be successful. Remember, you are the only one of you, the only one with your spiritual gifts and talents and background, your experiences, what you've been through, living where you live, working where you work. You have been strategically placed for such a time as this. The only thing left is for you to get that drive to get it done. The second success attitude that we need to focus on is setting big goals. This one has got me in trouble before, more than once, so I hesitate to put it on here, but I just don't want to live life any other way. There are a lot of people that like to set small goals that are fairly easy to reach each year so they can say they were successful. I prefer to be around world changers in this world, those that want to accomplish big things for the kingdom of God. They dream big. It makes life more fun. Dreamers who are going for it. I have taken on many positions in my life setting God-sized goals for the organization and then doing everything in my power to make it happen. Was I successful? Rarely. But we got really far every time. There were people that like to point out what I didn't accomplish in my overly ambitious dreams, but you just have to keep moving forward. There will always be those people in your organization that think that way. They don't last though. Actually, I should say that in the opposite way. They do last. They stay in that same place forever because they don't set big goals. It is great for job security to do that, but it's not great for experiencing life, to do things that are God-sized things, those big goals. When you set big goals, every now and then you get to see God accomplish those goals through you. It changes your life. I had a realization of this point when I was reading the Bible, and I read about 5 miracles in a row in one chapter, and I was kind of blown away. And I'm just thinking, God, why don't you do that today? And then I realized, you know what? There was about 20 years that passed between those miracles. And the miracles were amazing, but as you read one verse to the next and think about the 20 years, the people that lived in that time period, they must have thought, God, where are you? Even though God would do a big miracle, there were so many years where they just kept praying and waiting on God. It just kind of blew my mind for a second because I realized that we have to stay focused on God's plans. We don't every year accomplish a God-sized miracle, but man, when they come, they are awesome and they're bigger and better than anything that we would ever have accomplished on our own. So set big goals. I saw a comic strip once that had this bum that was sitting next to a businessman, and the bum says, "I'm wealthy beyond my wildest dreams. Unfortunately, my dreams were never that wild." Michelangelo said, "The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it." Robert Fritz said, "If you limit your choices only to what seems possible or reasonable, you disconnect yourself from what you truly want, and all that is left is a compromise." Don't settle for those small, obtainable goals that most people live life with. Be the dreamer who has God-sized goals. They might just happen, and the success will taste so much sweeter. Which brings us to our third success attitude: inspire. That's pretty much what I'm trying to do with this video and the other videos in this series. Inspire people to a greater purpose in God. How can we inspire others daily? Earlier in the videos, I talked about this GPS system that's in our mind. It's probably one of the main life-changing illustrations that I discovered for myself. When we set our minds on something, it triggers our mind, body, and soul to make that happen. The way I do this is to have a list of things that I want to accomplish every day. This list is filled with inspiration. Some of the items on the list are those daily tasks and things that we have to get done as a part of life or the job that we work for. But most of the list is filled with these inspirational projects to make a difference in this world. I have tried to build a life in which my job is not the task itself, but rather part of the inspirational person that I want to be in this world. Pastor was a really good choice for me. Malcolm Forbes said, "The biggest mistake people make in life is not trying to make a living at doing what they most enjoy." Whatever goal you give to your subconscious mind, it will work night and day to achieve what you're setting for it. Are you inspired daily? Do you inspire people daily? Do you set those types of goals daily? Lou Holtz said, "If you're bored with life, if you don't get up every morning with this burning desire to do things, you don't have enough goals." Which brings me to the fourth success attitude: be a doer. I'm amazed at how many people in our world love to talk about ideas. They analyze, they plan, they organize, they make great spreadsheets, but they never actually just do it. I realize that there are different perspectives on this issue, but I have seen so many great ideas die in a meeting. They're discussed and they get bogged down with what ifs, and we never actually even try. Many times we need to just get the plan in motion. If it will never start out perfectly, okay? But you will learn fast if you just start. Make the necessary corrections along the way, keep taking actions forward, building momentum, and guess what? Producing results. Many times the difference between those who are successful in this world and those who are not is simply the ones who grinded it out and got it done. They kept moving forward. They didn't give up when it didn't work right at first. They didn't have death by meeting or death by analyzation. They kept tweaking it until it was successful. Jimmy Johnson once said, "Do you want to be safe and good, or do you want to take a chance and be great?" I love that. I'm going to keep taking risk and doing until God does something great with my life. And I should probably say great again in that statement, because I have risked a few times already and seen the results of what God can do when you have God-sized dreams and you take those risky steps forward to see it happen. Something to keep in mind. You're not talking about success versus failure. That's the problem. It's not success versus failure. If it's a God-sized vision, then you didn't have it before, and most likely no one had it before. It probably didn't even exist. So how is it a failure if you don't get there? The only failure is when the enemy gets to your mind. Think about when you ask someone to go out with you. This could be a date or just friends coming over with your family later in life, and they just say, "No, we can't make it." Did you fail? Well, it depends on what you allow the enemy to say in your head. You didn't have it before. The date wasn't on there. You didn't connect before this. So it's not really a failure. You didn't have it. You just tried to get it. If you have in your mind that nobody likes you and that everyone is just going to keep rejecting you, then yeah, this could feel like another failure for you. But if you instead think, you know what, it's a fun risk that you may or may not be successful with, meaning you accomplish what you're trying to go for, that's a different take on success versus failure. I like to lean towards failure not even being one of the options. See, we set a God-sized goal and we may get all the way there, or 3/4 there, or half there, whatever. We win no matter what, just by going after the God-sized goal. That's the success attitude. My final one for you, number 5, is be genuinely curious. Do not pretend to be curious. Do not pretend to be listening just so you can eventually say what it is you want to say. Have a genuine curiosity as if everyone was created by God and has something to give this world and to teach you. Because guess what? They are created by God, and there is something for you to learn from them. Now, stop talking so much and instead listen and figure out, what is God teaching you with this person? Let's be honest. How many meetings do you have where it seems like the person across from you really likes to hear themselves speak? I mean, it's a little frustrating to realize that they have no care whatsoever what you have to add to the situation. You probably are in a lot of meetings like that. Those are hard. But to be someone who listens, you'll discover how valuable that asset is in this world. Be curious about other people, what they feel, how they think, how they are seeing the world. What are their hopes, their dreams, their fears? What are their aspirations? What are the obstacles that they're facing in life? When you're curious about other people, you stop focusing on self and you actually become a happier, more fun person. It's not about you anymore. Choose to use wise words at the appropriate time and let others fill the room with noise. Wise words include speaking well of people in all situations. Always seek to find how God created someone special, even if they are frustrating. Be someone who cares and appreciates the creations of the Lord, and you will find yourselves never saying evil things about people. Ephesians 4:29 says, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." A curiosity, a genuine curiosity, leads to appreciation and care. And you don't say evil things, you care. As you launch something great in this world, have an attitude of success, drive. Someone with the drive to push through the Debbie Downers of this world, or the devil's advocates, if you wish. Big goals. Set goals that are God-sized goals. You may not get there, but measure your success based on how close you get from zero. You didn't have anything in the first place, so measure your success for how far you get, not from an all-sum game of victory or failure. Inspire. Create a list that inspires you on a daily basis. Be a doer. There are plenty of people who like to talk about the great things that could be done. Be someone who does great things. Build the plane in the air. Number 5, curious. Be curious about every creation of this world. God has a purpose for all of us. At our next coaching session, our personal one, I want you to tell me 1 or 2 of these that you put into action this week. What was different when you did that? I look forward to hearing all about that at our next meeting. The next video is T, which is think in 90-day goals. Think in 90-day goals. It's a very practical way to do ministry and to launch things, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it. So that's next time. I will see you then. Thanks for watching.